Hello friends, we're on week 2 of Kindle Unlimited Mayhem. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I am Neva, this is Reading with Neva, and this is our second weekly vlog for Kindle Unlimited Mayhem. I am mostly doing Kindle Unlimited books at this point, so that's where we are. So let's talk about what we're reading, what we're going to be reading this week or hoping to read this week. So there's only 2 books that I'm completely like dedicated to. Well, technically 3. I'll talk about the other one in a second. But there's technically only 2 Kindle Unlimited books that I'm completely dedicated to this week. One of them is a buddy read and one is a book I'm reading on my own. So in the last vlog, you saw me roll or spin for Binding 13 after DNFing 2 books and giving 1 book 3.5 stars. If you haven't watched that, it's on my channel. Go watch it. And yeah, absolutely loving Binding 13. So I will be continuing Binding 13 this week until I finish it, of course, and I have the audiobook for this if I want to do that. But I also will be reading Autopsy of a Fairy Tale, and I'm reading this with a group of people. It's like me, Laura, Brittany, and Rye, I think. There might be other people, so I apologize if I've left anyone out. I will make sure to tag everyone down below. But I'm doing that as a buddy read. And then the one buddy read that I have that is not a Kindle Unlimited book is Air of Fire. Is that what we're reading? Yes, Air of Fire, which is with Kelsey and Reni. I am chronically behind on this buddy read, so I do need to catch up on it this week. So you probably will hear me talk about it a little bit just because I don't have like a dedicated vlog for the Dawn of Glass series. I thought about making one and then I decided not to. So that's where we are. Yeah, but like I said, I'm absolutely loving Binding 13. It's absolutely going great. This is not YA. I kind of talked about this in my last vlog, so I don't want to repeat myself, but absolutely loving this one. And Autopsy of a Fairy Tale, I don't really know a lot about it. I believe it's being pitched as like fairy tale retelling meets CSI, so I'm really excited for that because there are like handcuffs and like FBI files and stuff on the cover of the book, so I think it'll be really interesting. But we're starting that technically the day after I'm starting this vlog. So these vlogs get started on Monday. We're starting that book on Tuesday, so I will be at work when everyone else starts it, so I will probably start a little bit early. Like I will probably start it tonight while I'm at work instead of tomorrow, if I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, that's where we are. So I'm gonna go now and get ready for work, but I wanted to come in, do a little intro, and yeah, so when I have an update, I will be back. Hello friends. So I have just gotten home from work and we're here to talk. So I am DNFing Autopsy of a Fairy Tale. Yes, I'm DNFing. I don't know what my focus is doing, so I apologize for that. But I am DNFing this book. I made it almost 20%, but I stopped before 20% so that I didn't have to, or so that I could replace it if I wanted to. But I didn't want to read to 50% because after 50%, I mean at 50%, it counts as a finished book, but I didn't want to read that far because I just didn't care. So not enjoying it. It started out fine. It started out okay. And then like the further I got into it, the more bored I got and the less I cared. So we're just going to be DNFing Autopsy of a Fairy Tale. The cover is so cool too. And like the pictures that are in it are really cool, but alas. This was a buddy read with Laura and Brittany. And that's it. That's all. So moving on. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to spin for a new book to replace this one, obviously. I am still working on Binding 13, but I've kind of decided that I'm going to give myself time to really read and absorb Binding 13. So I'm doing audio and ebook both. If I finish it by the end of the month, then obviously it'll be counted as a book that I read. But if I don't, I'm not going to beat myself up. So I'm going to go ahead and spin for a new book to replace this one. So let me pull up my little wheel. Here we go. Offside. Okay, so Offside is a hockey romance, I think. Let me go pull it up because hopefully it's not by Avery Keelan. I think I got rid of all of them that were by her after reading the other one that I didn't like. And I mean, I gave it 3 stars, I think, or something. But let me just make sure it's not by her, because if it is, I'm going to not read it. I'm going to be honest. Okay, so, all right, so it is by Avery Keelan. Okay, so apparently I kept Shut Out and Offside because these are a different series than the other book that I read by her. So we're going to try it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it the old college try, okay? So this is part of the Rules of the Game series, and it looks like this. And why? What is it doing? I don't know what my camera's doing. But it is a hockey romance. Hopefully, I don't know what my camera. Okay, I don't know what's going on, but it's being weird. So I guess I'll have to look at my camera. But so Offside is what I'm going to be starting. Hopefully this one is good, better than the last one that I read by this author. I did give the last one, I think, 3.5 stars or 3 stars, something like that. So not the worst thing I've ever read, but I don't really give 3 stars usually. So let's go ahead. We'll start this, and I'm going to lay down for a little while and read. And hopefully this clip is usable because I don't understand why I keep getting fuzzy, but I apologize to everyone that's watching this. Unfortunately, I don't know what's happening with my camera. Okay, so anyway, we're gonna read Offside, which looks like this. Cute. All right, so hockey romance, and let's pray that this is a good one. I never did. You can't boy into a man, can you? Can't fit Texas. Texas and Louisiana. Texas and Louisiana. Story. Hello. I'm just here to close out the vlog because I realized that I never did a closing out clip. I'm the worst at those. So let's talk really quick about the books that I've read and this week and how far I am. So there's 3 books. I'm just gonna pull them up on my phone because I don't have my Kindle sitting in front of me. But no finishes this week at all. However, I did make a dent in some of the books. So the one that I'm the least amount through is Offside by Avery Keelan. I'm 13% through this one. This is a hockey romance, enemies to lovers, rival team kind of thing. So our main female character is dating a hockey player that is on her brother's hockey team at the beginning of the book that goes to her college, and then there's a breakup that happens and she ends up getting drunk and going home with a player from a rival team. They don't end up like sleeping together or anything at the beginning, but it's about as far as I am. It's cute, it's fun, it's much better than the first one that I read by this author, which was The Enforcer, which is in my first vlog if you want to hear my thoughts about that. But yeah, Offside is much better. I just kind of forgot this week that I was supposed to be reading that, so that's why there's not as much read of that one. However, I will be reading more of that in the next vlog. I made it to 38% of Funny Story, which is by Emily Henry. This is my book club book for That's What She Read book club, which is hosted by Jess Massey from Hustle Stanley. I'm sorry, there's something in my eyeball. Over at Hustle Stanley, and it does cost money. I believe it's $10 a month, and it's run through Kajabi. So I know people were asking questions about that when I was talking about it in my last vlog, so that's what that is. It is a paid thing. However, I've been part of the Hustle Stanley community for a long time, I think since like 2018, so I don't mind paying for it, and you get a lot of bonuses for it. So it is an online book club. And Funny Story, I'm absolutely loving this book. I don't really know how to talk about this book without spoilers because I'm loving it so much, but we are following Daphne and Miles. This is an ex-fiance's new fiance's ex-boyfriend trope, which I've never actually seen done before, but essentially Daphne gets dumped by her fiance, her ex-fiance, after he has a one-night stand with his best woman, I guess, who's like his childhood best friend. They decide that they're going to be together, so he tells Daphne that she has to leave the house that they own together because technically her name is not on the house. He bought the house, so he tells her like, you have to leave. And Miles shows up, and Miles is the ex-boyfriend of Daphne's ex-fiance's new fiance, because they got together and then immediately got engaged, which is crazy. They got engaged like weeks after the fact. And Miles shows up looking for his ex-girlfriend after finding a note, and Daphne asks if he needs a roommate, and she moves in with him. So it's their like love story, I guess. They go through a lot of trials and tribulations. They're obviously the only 2 people that know what they're going through. There's like a wedding invitation that's sent out. Like they both get a wedding invitation from their exes to their ex's wedding, which is crazy. That's insane. But yeah, this is such a cute book, and honestly it's so refreshing after the disappointment that Happy Place was for me. I know some people really like that book. I, however, did not. It was pretty disappointing. So this one is so refreshing and is probably going to be my favorite Emily Henry, but we'll see because I'm only 39%, but I feel like it could be. And then the third book that I read this week is Binding 13, and I made it to 52% of this book. I am doing this book kind of back and forth between audio and my Kindle, mostly because if I'm at work or I'm just hanging out somewhere outside the house, I do read it on my Kindle, and it does read very quickly. But if I am like diamond painting or just hanging out at home, I will listen to the audio. So absolutely loving this book. Again, I don't really know how to talk about this one without spoilers, but essentially we're following Johnny and Shannon. Shannon is 15 and Johnny is 17. I think by the end of the book, Shannon will be 16 and Johnny will be 18. But as of right now, they're 15 and 17. This personally doesn't bother me very much because Shannon is supposed to have been born in 1989, which would, in present day 2024, make her 34 years old, which is 2 years older than me. So this doesn't really bother me. It kind of just feels like I'm following an adult story of high school, like a kind of like a what am I looking for? Like a reminiscing of high school almost. It has not been any smut in this at all. I've been told that there really isn't any smut in this book, that it's just kind of that, like, the closest thing to smut that we really get is some, like, there's like a situation, but there's no like open door like smut. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving this book. The banter between Johnny and his best friend Gibbsy is honestly like it's what I'm living for in this book. But I also really do like the dynamic between Shannon and Johnny. It is a pretty slow burn romance, I would say, because Johnny is pretty concerned about like the small age gaps that they have. It does take place in Ireland, so I think this is another thing that doesn't really bother me because Ireland's age of consent is different, and also their legal drinking age is 18, as opposed to America, where our legal drinking age / buying tobacco age is 21. So that doesn't really bother me, maybe because I'm looking at it through that lens and not through the lens of like it taking place in America. But yeah, so those are the 3 books this week that I read. I don't really have much else to say, and I've now been talking for 7.5 minutes, but that's really all that I have this week for this vlog. Let me know down below what you have read for Kindle Unlimited / Kindle Mayhem this week. Hopefully I'll have some finishes next week. But with all of the DNFs last week, I seem to have really only finished one book this entire month. So I kind of need to get on it, but it is because last week in my vlog I had 2 DNFs. So I finished one book and then had 2 DNFs, and then this week I just haven't finished any books. So hopefully next week I will be finishing up some books slowly but surely. And yeah, so I'm not quite sure what books I'll be reading. I know that I have a buddy read next week that I'll be talking about, but otherwise I'll just be kind of trying to make dents in Offside and Funny Story for sure, because I need to finish Funny Story for book club, but I also just want to finish Offside so that we can spin again. So that's all that I have for this vlog. If you want to follow me anywhere other than YouTube, all of my socials are down below. Instagram, I think TikTok probably, Storygraph, Goodreads. Goodreads is not up to date, but Storygraph is. Patreon, all of that's linked down below. Wish lists are also linked down below if you want to send me or Ari anything off of those. And that's all that I really have for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.